All right, guys, what's up? We're on a roof up here in Big Lake. Scott here. We're doing an inspection, and so I'm just going to walk you guys through a roof inspection, show you what that looks like. So here we go. We're going to get up on the roof. I've got an architectural shingle up here. Now, the first thing I like to do is I want to look at the soft metals. So we've already kind of gone through and done a little look at the shingles. So we've circled some things up, marked them. But the first thing you do when you get up on a roof is you take a look at the soft metals. So if you take a little peek here, we're going to chalk these. So I'll just chalk this one myself here. If you look, you can really see some pretty good dents. So this is very obvious, pretty heavy. You take your chalk, turn it sideways, and there you go. So really good hail damage on the vents. And you don't have to chalk every vent, but works a lot better to chalk if you can't already see the dents. So here you really don't even have to chalk these. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna look at the valley metal. Same thing here. We've got really good hits on the valley. See if these translate to the camera. So there you go, there's valley metal. A lot of good dings. We can chalk the valley metal too. Sometimes the chalk doesn't stick that well, but there we go. There. There's quite a few. So on older roofs, if the shingle is discontinued, which is any type of shingle that was put on prior to 2009, most shingles older than 2009 are discontinued. So if you get just the valley metal approved, what happens is they'll pay to replace the valley metal and then the shingles around the valley metal. And if that shingle is discontinued and you can't match it, you can get a full roof approval just off of valley metal damage. So it happens all the time. We get a number of roofs every year just from valley metal damage. You know, or if you're ever sick of arguing with an adjuster, you shouldn't argue with them anyway, but if you get sick of, you know, trying to debate what isn't a hail hit on a shingle, you know, you got an old shingle that's discontinued, just point out the damage in the valley, and it's just kind of a workaround. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to run some test squares up on the roof here. So that's typically what the insurance company is going to do. They're going to mark off a 10-foot by 10-foot test square. So they'll do it on the front, the back, the left, and the right. And typically within the test square, they're going to want to find usually 5 to 7 hail hits, give or take. So here we go. We've marked our square off. This is for the back. So we're going to do one also on the front, do one on the left and one on the right. So just one pointing each direction. So I'm going to look at my test square. We're going to start to take a little peek here. So this one, I don't know how well these are going to translate to the camera. This one's kind of light, looks decent. And hail damage it's subjective, just by nature. So you're kind of looking for a round area where maybe some granules are missing, maybe it's soft, maybe it's dented in a little bit. Sometimes you got to look kind of hard, like right here, like that. It actually looks pretty good. Something like this is almost too well defined, right? Where all the granules are gone, it's kind of on the edge. I mean, it might flag. So we'll include it for now. And really the only reason we're marking these slopes up is really just for the homeowner. We don't need photos of this damage. You don't have to send it to the insurance company. We're just trying to figure out, hey, is there enough damage where it's worth it for the homeowner to file a claim or not? Here you got another one right here. I like that. So we got 4. And I'm looking for the best. If we start to look at some of the stuff that's a little more marginal, I know we're gonna have more. Here's one right here. Something like this, I would not call hail damage. It's kind of long. It's like like a line. I don't know what it is. Maybe damage from install, maybe it's wear and tear, blemish on the shingle from the factory. You know, or you see something like this where the edge is kind of degraded. That's probably footfall. So someone's foot was sliding on it during install or maybe during an inspection. This is almost a little too well defined as well. I mean, it might get circled by an adjuster. So, you know, it's not our job to define exactly what is and isn't hail. We're just looking for stuff that might be, right? And the adjuster is going to come out and sift through all of it and make a determination. But you'll see you get 10 different adjusters out. Each one of them is going to have a different opinion on what hail does and doesn't look like, right? And the biggest thing is usually whether the roof gets approved or not is really going to depend on how much collateral damage do you have. Do you have hits on the valley metal? Do you have hits on the turtle vents? Are there hits in the gutters? What about the fascia? So we'll kind of hang over the fascia, see if we can see anything over there. So this fascia here looks pretty clean. This fascia also looks pretty clean. Might check out the front. Oh, here's one on the ridge. It's a nice hit there. So the ridge a lot of times will show some pretty good hail bruising because it's usually a little softer. It doesn't have anything supporting it directly below. Sometimes hail punches right through the ridge. Take a peek here at the front. Yaki's kind of marked some stuff up already. This one's all right. A little odd shaped, but it's okay. This one, to me, looks more like a blister. Now you might get lucky. Some adjusters might circle that. This one is a little weird because it's kind of an elongated line. Maybe. I mean, there's definitely some blemishing. And with the amount of collateral damage we have, some of that stuff might get circled. It's really going to depend on the adjuster and which insurance company it is. So this is the front. This is definitely not hail. Some sort of wear and tear. You can see all the way down to the fiberglass. So let's circle a few here. This also is not hail damage. This is some sort of mechanical damage. This doesn't look like hail either. It looks like some sort of mechanical damage. It could get circled, but again, stuff like this, like this, like this, it just doesn't really fit the picture or the narrative with what we're seeing in terms of collateral damage on the roof, right? You see the size of the dents on the turtle vent. It looks like smaller hail, but a lot of it, because there's a ton of dinging and denting on the valleys and the turtle vents. It just doesn't look like it was huge hail. It was good enough size to damage the shingle a little bit. So it's not like this isn't a smoked roof. This is what I would call light damage, but there's definitely some damage. Come over here to the right. Something like that isn't bad. If you start to look through this area here, there's a whole bunch of marring on the shingles, and this is probably a traffic area. So when people were installing the roof coming off and on, they were probably walking around up here. It was a hot day. It's easy to mar the shingles up a little bit. And again, you might get lucky sometimes adjusters, you know, they circle that stuff. But right here, I like that. This one might work. A couple other ones up over here. So a lot of this stuff, it's fairly light. Next thing I'm going to do is take a little peek at the gutters. So what I'm finding at this point, I see enough to recommend to the homeowner to file a claim. Here we go, I'll dump it real quick. this one, I like that. It's pretty good. This one again, it's got a weird oblong line. And again, this isn't to say that an adjuster doesn't come out and circle this. This video is to give you the best examples of, you know, basically your most definitive examples of a good hail head, right? Maybe here, I don't know, that looks almost more like a blister, but you know, this, I would say no, big long line. This, I like this. Yeah, I like when there's some granules still driven into the matting, so you've got some granules still in the middle of the impact mark. Whereas blisters, you typically won't have that. Blistered, maybe something like this, what happens, the shingle heats up, asphalt pops off, and in the center of the hit, you don't really see granules. It's all the granules are gone, and the edge is really well defined. Whereas on something like this, the edge is not really well defined, so it almost looks like more like a golf ball came and hit this, and it's a little shallower in the middle, and there's a slight indent. On your gutters, the spot you want to look, I really like to look on the inner edge. I also like to look on the bottom, and the way you look on the bottom is you go down below and you put your ladder up to the gutter and you take a peek at the bottom and look all the way down. When you're up on top, you can chalk the edge, and then you look on the inner part of the gutter there for any denting. So that's about it for this inspection, guys. I think we showed you some decent damage, pretty good stuff here on the backside. You know, it's all on the lighter side. There's some stuff, and I think these guys are going to file a claim. Here's another good one, like that, right here. So I think these guys will file a claim, and I think they'll have a really good shot at getting a new roof. So we'll see you guys in the next one.